Hello everyone, Daniel here for the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, we'll be doing a review for Wonka 2023. This is a new film rated PG with a runtime of an hour and 56 minutes. As of the recording of this video, we have a Rotten Tomato score from the critics of 83%. We don't have an audience score as of yet, but we do have a Letterboxd average star rating of 3.5. Now, in this film, based on the extraordinary character at the center of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Roald Dahl's most iconic children's book and one of the best-selling children's book of all time, Wonka, tells the wondrous story of how the world's greatest inventor, magician, and chocolate maker became the beloved Willy Wonka we know today. This is directed by Paul King, who has directed the Paddington films. I believe that's probably what he's most known for. And although I haven't seen the Paddington films, after watching this film, I can see why the movies are so successful, and I'm a little bit interested in maybe checking that out. This film stars Timothée Chalamet as Willy Wonka, Hugh Grant as the Oompa Loompa. We also have Callan Lane as Noodle, Keegan Michael Key as the Chief of Police, and Olivia Colman as Miss Scrubbit, along with a big, wide, talented cast. So the first thing I'll say, I think we have had conversation about this because the marketing's a little misleading. This is a musical. It's not like a musical where everything, like every single scene is music, but this is a musical. Uh, so be prepared for that. Which I'm not the biggest fan of musicals. It's not really my usual thing, but this one was quite enjoyable. I think the songs are fantastic. I don't know if Timothée Chalamet can really sing, but it sounded good to me. That's all I can tell you there. And yeah, there's just some really whimsical, fantastical sequences, like all these little. With a movie like this, you have a lot of leeway to really lean into all the silly stuff, right? And especially with a movie about candy. But what was very surprising to me was how much heart this film really had. And it probably shouldn't be surprised because this, Paul King, I feel like that's why the Paddington films are so successful, because they have a lot of heart. They really examine kind of the human condition through this bear, where in this case we kind of examine it through this magical chocolatier, played by Timothée Chalamet. Now I will say, if you're going into this expecting the Gene Wilder Willy Wonka that we saw in the original film, that's definitely not what you're gonna get. I feel like this Willy Wonka was a lot more optimistic and filled with hope at the moment. Like, he is a younger person. I don't think he's as cynical. I don't think he's as I think Gene Wilder was perfect to play that character because, unfortunately, that Willy Wonka, after everything that he had been going through, and just everything that the world, like capitalism, really fucked him up. Like, he was a little bit more cynical about the world and his view of the world, but he knew that there was still hope out there, right? Whereas this Wonka is still just full of hope. He hasn't been through the ringer. Although this movie will put him through some stuff, I think it's really cool to explore, like, how a lot of these people just kind of find each other. The concept of these, like, kind of found families are really something that has permeated media very recently, at least in stuff that I've seen, which is very interesting, right? Because I think we are at a point where people like that kind of stuff, where yeah, you can have your family, but not everybody has. Family dynamics can be very different between all sorts of walks of life. Found family or your chosen family, I think it's something that can be very important, and it's really cool to explore. So I really like that. Like I said, this movie has a lot of heart, has some really interesting visuals. Of course, has a lot of candy. Even the introduction of the Oompa Loompa, which was probably the thing I was the most wary of, was like, I think it was really well done. I really enjoyed that. I think Hugh Grant, just he's very charismatic, so he really makes that happen very well. I don't know. I don't know how. I don't want to say like he wasn't phoning it in or anything, but you can definitely tell that he was only there for a few of those little things. Really, I don't think he was there as much on set as some of these other actors and characters. But like I said, the musical numbers are fun. By the end of the movie, I was just like really heartfelt ending. I think they really tied things up pretty nicely. We could definitely see a second Wonka where like we pick up kind of where we leave off. We want to. I would love to follow along with these characters. There's not really an after credit scene. It's more like here's what's gonna kind of happen during the credits. So, stick around for a little bit. But whenever that first part's over, the movie's kind of done. But it's really nice. Yeah, it's just a really feel good movie. It's perfect for the holidays. I think people will enjoy going out and just kind of getting away from everything for a couple of hours, and just being, you know, just wondering about like this chocolate maker and how he makes things happen. Like I said, I think Chalamet did a good job just carrying the load. Really, the supporting characters really help him a lot. I think that's a big strength of these type of movies, that the supporting cast is just so strong that your lead, as much as they're carrying the film, they don't have to carry it by themselves all the time. They can always throw to different characters and share the load. But you definitely see Timothée Chalamet in pretty much almost every scene, because he is the focus of the story. You get to find out a lot about his backstory and kind of why he is into chocolate and candy the way he is. And then there are there are obstacles that feel pretty emotional and heavy, and maybe they're not as much upon a rewatch. But like when I was watching it there, um, I thought that was really cool. Another thing that just kind of on my screening, or that happened where I was at the theater watching it, there was a couple of kids with their family. It was a family sitting across the few rows ahead of me, and when the songs came on, the kids started dancing. So like, I don't know what else could you ask for in a family film than to have your family be entertained. So yeah, really cool stuff. I really really enjoyed it. It was a big surprise because a lot of people were very wary, including myself. Not as much, but I really thought that this movie had its work cut out for itself. But Paul King and the team really showed that you can just make a really fun, entertaining film that's going to capture the imagination of your family. So I think this was going to be, I feel like this movie is going to make a lot of money just because of the holiday, and there's really nothing kind of like it going up against it in the next couple of weeks. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. So if you have seen Wonka, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. If you read the book, let me know if any of this stuff actually kind of comes from the book. I haven't read the book, so I don't know. I've seen both of the previous iterations of Charlie and or Wonka at the Chocolate Factory, both movies with Gene Wilder and then with Johnny Depp. But yeah, this is just a really cool installment. I've one thing I did forget to mention: really great costuming all around. Like the sets also feel very lived in. Like it feels like very practical for the most part. Like they almost kind of like they built this little city that we're in all the time. So that was really neat. So uh, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone.